I used to be a hoarder of the intellect. Right? My mind used to be the thing that led my life on in every way, because I was convinced it would keep me safe, and I would always have a tool for every situation. So this actually created a suitcase full of safety, filled with every experience, thought, belief, theory, process, technique, and all the conclusions I thought I had cleverly come to. But there never seemed to be enough. And I kept stuffing more in, more techniques, more philosophies, more ideas that promised to release me from pain, because at that stage I was going through anxiety and depression issues. So after dragging this around for a while, I got tired and sick, because you cannot keep, I was imbalanced, I was looking for something outside of myself to make me feel good, and you cannot keep dragging that around. It becomes quite imbalanced. So my Reiki master at the time told me that I had to stop and allow my pain to communicate with me, which would release me from the pain. So, but at that stage, I wasn't ready to do that in my life. I was too scared to stop collecting stuff, just in case I needed it, and too scared to sit in my pain. So I just continued along the same path. And yes, well, you know, you'd never have to do anything about anything, but just know it'll get bigger and bigger until you do choose to do something about it. And yes, you guessed it, right in the middle of the most inappropriate moment, my suitcase exploded. And it was like, there I stood in the middle of what I thought was an educated and controlled life, and I was in absolute chaos. So I was doused in my fears and insecurities, and it was like the contents of my suitcase lay broken around me. So imagine your suitcase spontaneously springing open at a busy airport. Well, we might be able to imagine that again soon, hopefully. Exposing all your smalls and your secrets to the world. And it was like I stood there with, you know, my underwear swinging from my ear and my shadow sort of lying raw and naked all around me. And my initial reaction was shock, then panic set in. And I can remember thinking, and you know, obviously this is an analogy, but it was like I was running around trying to pick up everything and stuff it back in my suitcase, as we do. And you know, and I've used food as a way to do that, and there are many different ways that we coping mechanisms that we have to do that. But it was like, but of course everything just kept spilling out because it was already out, and it had to come to the surface in order for me to heal that. So it was like my skeletons had leapt from the cupboard and there was no way they were going back in. So I decided to sit in the middle of all the stuff and started to laugh and cry all at the same time, and too exhausted at that moment to get up. I resigned to the situation and I just let go, and in that moment healing began. Now, it doesn't have to be as hard as that. As I said to you before, I'm not particularly good at letting go of things. I've got much better over the years. But I still, it takes me a while to just let go. No, I often say to my clients, just let go. and there's me still hanging on. It's my stuff, I'm going to hang on to it. So we all have stories, but remember, you're not your story.